Welcome back, everybody, to episode 3 for Shadow Sessions Paranormal. We've got Bravin, Olivia, Caleb. We are joined today with our first ever guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bryan Mersol.
I'm learning how to use the preloaded sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as cool as the software that you use, Brian, but it does what we can play. Yeah, funny sounds that we can play.
Caleb, do you want to show your favorite? You want to show your favorite sound?
I don't think mine will pick up over there, but we can try.
Oh, I didn't realize it was over
No,
there.
it's on that one.
It's a fart noise.
But like Caleb said, we have Bryan Mersol on with us. We're super excited to have him on. He is a good friend of mine. Known him for a couple years, and I've been able to introduce both Caleb and Olivia to Bryan. But like Caleb said, we're super excited to have him on. He's our first guest. He's been a huge supporter since the very beginning, even though we've only been around for a month, I think.
Mhm.
But Bryan, welcome aboard. Welcome onto the show, man.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be the first guest ever on SSP. True honor. And I'm just so excited to be here and talk to you guys. I have no idea what we're walking into tonight, but we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. We kind of discussed a little bit of what we're going to talk about, but kind of running a little bit just kind of off the fly. But we definitely want to hear how'd you get into the paranormal? I mean, you and I have investigated tons of places together, but we were really curious. How did you get into the paranormal, and kind of like what's your journey been so far?
Yeah, I had a friend in college say, "Hey, I know you like scary stuff, scary movies." That's the same thing that Frankie thought, and wanted someone to go to this ghost club with on campus at John Carroll. And I said, "Sure, I'm down for anything spooky." And they were talking about their approach on how to attack Mansfield Reformatory. Ever since then, just stayed through, had some guest speakers, took over the group. When the president graduated, Eugene Claridge, great guy. He's the man. And we were just off to the races. And then I went to paranormal retirement for like a year or so. And then, people kept talking about all the crazy experiences I had in college, and then started my own group. And here we are.
What's the name of your group?
Your Paranormal. One word.
YP. The YP fam.
The YP.
I think all the YP investigations. How many are we at so far? It's over 50. 55? And how many more do you have planned for the rest of the year?
7.
7
Wow.
investigations for the rest of the year. Oh man, that's
it done.
It's a busy 3 months.
Olivia, why is it called Your Paranormal?
I don't know, Bryan. You tell me.
Bravin, why is it called Your Paranormal?
Your Paranormal is all about everyone else in the group. So Bryan started Your Paranormal in an effort to help grow and develop the next generation of paranormal. So he's actually working on writing 3 books.
Yeah, like a 3-in-1.
Yeah, kind of like a ghost hunting 101, like how to do locations, how to find locations, how to fundraise. So when I came on and started helping Bryan, it's kind of been something that we're doing. Like, it's all about everyone else. So we're like, how can we make it excellent for everyone that is going on these YP investigations? So
I will say that is something that's totally true. I know for myself, like the first investigation you invited me on, it's just, I only knew Bravin, and he's like, "Hey, it's a good group. Come on up, we'll investigate." And he's like, "I will warn you, a little weird." He said, "You're going to hear some things. You're going to ask some questions." I'm like, "Nope, I'm sure it's right up my alley."
Oh, the investigation's weird. I thought you were talking about
The group. I was like, come on, man. Like,
definitely the group.
Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, right from the get-go, everybody was so welcoming and, took me in. Dr. Z bought a lottery ticket. He's like, "Hey, this is your first investigation with us." And I mean, it's been a little family right from the get-go.
I mean, that's how my first one was. Going into it, I knew Bravin and Bryan, and that was it. And then I left with like 15 new family members.
Including Barb, you know what I'm saying?
Barb is my favorite. Bryan, since you're on here,
Nope.
you mentioned Barb in a previous episode. Do you want to explain who Barb is?
And all the stories of you trying to
Yes.
get her back.
Because I adore Barb, and these two clowns over here are just always slandering her.
Yeah, no. I get it.
Oh,
I
he's
get
gonna
why.
show us Barb. Okay.
Yeah. So, again, your paranormal.
I can't
You know,
wait to
if you look at
see
the
her.
TV shows, I like some of the TV shows, but most of them is like the cliche of, oh, I got a 6-pack, and since I don't have a 6-pack, I knew that like it couldn't all be about me. So instead of being focused on my like lack of a 6-pack, I always wanted it to be about like your paranormal adventure. You know, whether you're starting or growing it. Like, let's roll. So here's Barb. I don't know why I didn't bring her first
Aww.
time. Oh, the tombstone. You know what I'm saying. This
Barb
is like
not in the case right now.
That's the same tombstone
Barb
that
doesn't need to be in
Bryan
a
tried to
case.
put in the bed of my truck after we did
Yeah,
Grand
so-
Midway. He tried to sneak it into the bed of my truck, and I said, absolutely the hell not.
Good for you, Bryan. Good for you.
Imagine sleeping down here. It's all cased off. You've got Barb. You've got the painting of Barb. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I need a painting of Barb.
look, she's on fire. The eyes move with you. You know, like, come on, guys.
Bryan, all that I'm asking is to be next in line for ownership of Barb.
If if I die,
Can I have
yes.
Barb in the will?
I feel like Barb is not something that's in a will. That's more like a curse. She just shows up at your house.
Listen, my whole thing with Barb is, Bryan will explain Barb in a minute, but my whole thing with Barb is I genuinely believe that the energy that you put into Barb when she's in your possession is the energy that you will get back. So like at the YP investigation that I did, I looked at her as a protector, and I had a puffer vest jacket on, and I put her inside and I zipped her up almost like a front baby carrier, and I carried her around with me the whole entire night. And guess what?
You got scratched.
Not a damn thing happened. No, not at the YP investigation.
Not at that was at Auglays.
Yeah.
You got scratched at Madison.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I got scratched before I even met Barb. It was before Bryan even showed up. So you can't blame Barb. I love Barb.
I still can, and I still will.
Well,
I think
whatever.
the last time someone other than Olivia was holding Barb, they got scratched.
I like Barb from a distance.
Well, maybe Barb just loves me more than anyone else, so she protects me.
And that's fine. But, okay, Bryan, give us the rundown of Barb, because I didn't want to butcher it in the last episode that we talked about it, but give us the rundown of Barb. Let us know why she's spooky and why she normally is sitting in a glass case with a Bible and holy water.
You know, so I was the president of that ghost group at my college, and you know, I can't talk too much, but I'm in finance. I was a finance major, and the only thing that was the financially responsible thing to do is because I was in charge of the budget. We got to go get like a creepy doll, and you know, we had to roll up on Target. All the dolls that we found that were creepy just weren't like creepy enough. And then we saw like the Raggedy Ann section. I said, "Oh yeah, we got to get a Raggedy Ann, just like Annabelle." You know what I mean? And she became kind of like a mascot. Half of the people loved her, half the people were afraid of her, and it was just a cute thing. Well, then, you know, just like 7 investigations in 3 months, you know, you're trying to pack these semesters full of investigations, and um, you know, she's got her investigation location count going up. You know what I mean? Like she's like a busy girl. You know what I'm saying?
I love that for her.
And little by little, just some more weird stuff happened. You know, just like Olivia's saying, you know, Olivia can get Barb as long as she stays like with the group. You know, if I die, you know, like you can like take care of her as long as she's still, you know, tied to the group.
Yeah.
Goes on investigations, and yeah, some people would hold her with some of the equipment in their dorms, And this might be a little exaggerated, but they'd wake up and see blood on the walls, like almost like a weird hallucination thing. People would get scratched, and that's just here or there. But let's say, for example, we're on an investigation, and I'm chilling with my homie Bravin. Bravin and I, like when we're not holding hands. Like if Bravin gets possessed and he starts scratching people, the last thing I'd want to do is say like F this, abandon him at the location and drive home without him. As
I
a leader
appreciate
of a,
that.
yeah, dude, like 100%, like like you're coming home with me. So like when we're on these investigations, I treat everyone like family. I treat everyone like, part of the group. I wouldn't leave Bravin there. So when I graduated the college group, I wasn't part of it anymore. And apparently holding bar, the person's getting scratched, everyone's freaking out. And the two tour guides that were like psychics and stuff, and they were involved in the investigation a little bit. They said, "Hey, we have some friends." Oh, and those two are great people, by the way. We have a friend who's got a haunted museum here in New York. Why don't you let us, have Barb and keep her safe? And the group said, "Yeah, go ahead." And it's as if they just shipped Bravin away and just said, "Yeah, stay in New York. Yeah, I'll see you. We're going
Bye. We
back to
don't want you.
Ohio." I wouldn't. Yeah, so like to me, that's just unethical. Like obviously, past like the whole like it's okay. Past the whole meme of it, like the haha, it's just a doll. Like, nah, man, like, because that's the principle for the entire group.
Yeah.
That's not how you make members feel safe. If something's attached, you don't just say, "Yeah, good luck. You're cursed for the rest of your life." You are blessing, saging, everything out of exist, cleansing, you know. And so they left Barb, and so these two caregivers were going to have Barb for the weekend before transporting her to the museum. That night, they woke up to noises in their house and seeing shadows darting around everywhere. And they said, no. That morning, they just took her right over. Very well documented Barb experience. I'm so thankful for Joe at Para Oddities. He's one of the greatest professionals, one of the greatest caretakers of Barb ever. She was missing for like 3 years because the group members just gave her away and said, and I said, "What are you doing?" And
That's Barb. You don't just ship her off and get rid of her.
Exactly.
and no one knew, what was going on. And like I know that some of the members tried to reach out, and they were like, "No, dude, I don't trust you." You know what I'm saying? But apparently 3 years went by, and I'm doing the Our Paranormal podcast, with my buddy Sean Gilmore. um peak peak viewers, maybe like just a little over 10, you know what I'm saying? And out of nowhere, like just randomly one of like the 10 or 14 people, we had a guest that canceled, so we got a new guest, new conversation pieces, new everything. And it was an hour into it, and we just randomly started talking about haunted objects. And I said, "Yeah, I mean, like the most haunted object, because I got a lot of dolls in my house, is Barb. But I just don't have Barb anymore." And I explained the story. Someone rolled up in the comments and said, "I got your doll. I have Barb here with me right now." And I'm like, "Listen, there's no chance. There's zero chance."
See, I would
Well,
not have done this story justice. That's why I was like, I'm gonna wait till Brian, because I already would have fucked it up like
well,
4 times over at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
there's like a few angles, right? Because the angle that this dude who commented, he's in his haunted museum. He's tinkering with a spirit box. I don't know if you guys know what that is, like a little like SP7. I'm just kidding. Um, and the music in his haunted museum randomly goes off, and he's like, "Okay, I guess I'm not listening to the loudspeakers anymore." Reached for his phone to listen to something a little more interactive. Pulled up Facebook. The first thing, our paranormal podcast rolls up. He's like, "Oh, okay." Just clicked onto this. 40 seconds later, I had already been yapping for an hour. 40 seconds into his, like, "Yeah, something Barb," and he's like, What was that? And just kept listening. Oh yeah. So he had to drop the comment, yo, listen, I think I got a barb, based on the story that I was telling. Pulled him onto the podcast. He said, I got a tombstone, rhinestone, big case for like the 3 or 5 most haunted items in my museum. I want to show you something. And flip the camera right there, right in the middle, Barb. He said people come all over New York to take pictures of Barb. They love Barb. But
Barb's
it
got
was
history.
great because when Barb got to the museum, above the tombstone was, or like the casing, right? Was a ceiling because it's a building. Started to get cracks.
It's got a ceiling because it's a building.
Cracks.
Quote of the evening. Quote
Dude,
of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm the first. That's why they brought the
Yeah.
big guns for this one. It's like in the movies where like you bring a haunted item in and like right above it, it starts to show signs of like decay or something. That was literally happening to this kid. That guy's like, listen, I'm responsible for this building. Did you put this on or something, mate?
I think it was the echo from the.
I literally thought that was the vent box for a second.
No, the vent box is sitting at home.
I think
That's
that's
so funny.
interesting.
So he's like, dude, I'm concerned about the building because I got to do the repairs. So he starts doing some sessions with her, and through the ghost box, swearing at him, you mother effer, this, that, and just over time getting to know Barb, this, that. It's an incredible story. It's one of my favorite podcast episodes I've ever done. In fact, that's probably like the only one that I'm like, if you ever have to listen to the Our Paranormal podcast, because Sean and I are beautiful, it's that one. It's like an
Valid.
hour or so long, and that's the one that I'm most proud of. I said it's an incredible story. So he's like, listen, there's no way after 40 seconds of me popping this on, the music coming off, this is no coincidence. Because I'm like, at least she's safe and she's in a good home. He's like, yeah, I think she wants to come home. And I said, I will pay anything. I will
Any
I
amount
will
of
get
money. Bring her back.
second mortgage. I have 2 kidneys. I only need 1. And he's like, no, man, tell you what, you just pay it forward. I'm gonna get her home.
Oh.
There's so many stories to Barb, prior to her being lost for 3 years. And one revolves around this one private residence case where it was scratching them, this, that, because we had, the group had accidentally left it at their house, which is a buddy of ours. Crazy stuff. Well, when it got shipped here, the day that Barb, she got shipped to the house, I know, she got in the mailbox. That private residence owner woke up with 3 scratches on his neck, and because he
That's
was
how
like,
many I
oh
had
my
at
god.
Madison.
He's like, dude, I got 3 scratches. I went home from work. Oh, I didn't check my mailbox.
Oh.
What is this? But just for Joe from Para Oddities to get Barb here, there were like 3 different cases. One, he's about to go, gets a flat tire, had to get it changed. Like about to get in the car, terrible pains, kidney stones. Literally had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
The third time because it's a little icy out. It's there like December, January. Gets to the UPS store, slips on ice. She falls into this crack between like I don't know, like a cement wall and the building, and he has to like reach in there and grab.
God.
I'm like, whoa! And Caleb's like, and that's when we should have known. No, but
that
Yes.
Barb is absolutely to not enter my
that's
house.
that's what's wild to think about. You think all the wild, ironic interactions that happen for him to even hear your podcast, and then to set up that interaction, and then it's like, okay, I want to mail out Barb, and Barb's like, I don't feel like flying. I don't, I don't want to be in a box for X amount of hours from New York to wherever it's been. But also, Barb's been on how many investigations when you were in college?
Yeah.
Who knows what happened
Maybe
during
some.
that 3 years where what was going on, the owner, what type of interactions and possibly negative stuff that they were doing and trying to build some, basically a conjuring device.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's why I'm like, Barb, you're cool over there from a distance.
doll that
I'll
was
look at
purchased from Target. That's what's really funny. It's not like, oh my gosh, this doll was being like clutched in the arms of a child as they burned in a house fire. It's like it was in aisle 7 of Target. Like that's, and everything that has progressively happened with Barb, just it's insane. I mean, I remember one of the locations, Brian, that one of the first investigations that we did, we were one of the guys that was there was holding Barb in front of him when we were in the basement, and he had these huge scratch marks that like appeared on his back twice while he's holding Barb. Now that's a conversation in and of itself, but I mean, that right there is crazy. I don't like touching Barb. I don't like holding Barb, but
there's too many people getting scratched for Barb to be just be a.
I need to find the picture
energy you
later
put
of me
in.
holding
I don't
Barb.
know.
It's the cutest picture. I adore
It's
Barb,
true.
and I adore her story. Wow, if I could talk, I adore her story.
I love her being at Brian's house.
I love her.
She's an interesting trigger object. But Brian, speaking of dolls, do you remember you got that doll that's like 100 some years old, right? The one that we left at the Hinsdale house?
Yeah.
So that doll is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like we're going on an adventure, guys. Brian's going to grab it for us. But while he's walking, this doll, it's been in your family for over 100 years, correct?
Yeah, it's like my step family, basically family. That's where like the tombstone is from. That's where that's where the doll's from. Yeah.
So this doll is super, super old, and we take it places just like we take Barb, and we'll use it as like a trigger object. We'll set it up on a ledge and see if it will fall over. I think last year or the year before, Brian, myself, there it is. Brian, myself,
I remember that one,
and my brother Camden, and then oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me because I can't remember her name. Who met us at Hinsdale? Amber. Amber met us at Hinsdale House because she lives 20 minutes away from the house in Salamanca, and we investigated, had some crazy stuff happen, and we left it at the Hinsdale House for over a year. And I was talking to Dan to see if we could get it back, and he is like, yeah, I'll mail it back. And we'll talk about this big trip that we took as your paranormal group, but we are out on the West Coast, and my wife calls me. She's like, hey, you got a box from New York. And I'm like, trying to think, I'm like, why would I have gotten a box from New York? And I was like, she's like, oh, I'll just open it and see. I said, I said, don't open it. I said, just leave it in the garage. And Dan had finally mailed that doll back to us. But after sitting in probably one of the most haunted houses in...
It stayed in the Hinsdale house for a year?
Yeah, and
Months.
It was probably 9 or 10 months, and it sat in that. And those of you guys that are listening that have been to the Hinsdale house, it is when you walk through the front door and you turn left and like go through the kitchen, through the living room where that whole display of dolls is. That's where it was, with all of the other haunted ass dolls that are back there. It stayed there for... Olivia's trying to show a picture of holding Barb.
Yeah, this image of Brian right here with these two dolls, I'm pretty sure this would be the screenshot of whatever series of horror films that end up getting made from when Brian is possessed, crawling on the ceiling, and something happens.
I built up enough of like a paranormal network that someone would come and save me. Like, Caleb, like I do this intelligently. Like, yeah, like I'm going to the deep end, but at least I have like a lifeguard or something. You know, I'm like, because just like the story I told, you know, like if Bravin gets possessed by like if his wife accidentally opened up the New York doll and gets possessed. We're rolling up like Jurassic Park 3 or whatever, when like the whole army like rolls up on the island. Dude, we're rolling up and we're rescuing this family. I'm like, that's what family's about. That's what we're doing.
It was
that'd be a great story.
It was so funny though, because she was like, why didn't you tell me this was showing up? I said, babe, I didn't know that it was going to be delivered that day. She's like, I'm gonna beat your ass when you get back. But speaking of
As
that,
she should have.
speaking of that, Brian, do you want to tell everyone about this epic road trip that we took and all those big name locations that we hit last year?
Oh yeah. So one of the best things about, first off, I love Olivia, Caleb, Bravin. They're the best. SSP is like literally my favorite. As you could tell, like
Aw.
I'm the first guest that has a shirt.
Go ahead and clip.
Brian
Go ahead
was
and
the
clip that for
first-
real.
All right, guys, I'll see it. No.
Brian was the first person to know outside of us three about the podcast. He was also the first person to, when I started doing shirt designs, he was we were texting about something else and I was like, I'm currently making shirt designs right now, and he's like, shut up and send me the link right now. The second I sent him the link, it was, Brian bought 2 shirts and supported your campaign.
It was immediate.
Immediate. And when we released the official SSP shirt, he got the link right away and ordered like 3.
I think you ordered shirts before I did, Brian.
Mhm.
And I was sitting next to Olivia when we were making
He's
them.
always been the first.
Yeah.
And like Caleb, this is all selfish because like when I get like possessed, you guys are gonna remember that I bought shirts. Like someone's gotta save me for these antics.
But when you get possessed too, you'll be the first podcast with the possessed man. So it works out both ways.
Like, don't you
What
want
if
a
he
story?
gets possessed in an SSP shirt?
That's good marketing right there.
Oh yeah.
Bonfire.
There's like a waiver every time you buy a
Link and
shirt.
Linktree for shirts.
You might get possessed.
Yeah.
Listen, if you get possessed, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Is that included in the waivers that I have to sign at your house for other shenanigans that we won't talk about?
No.
Makes it sound like he's got like a sex dungeon in his
Yeah,
basement.
I was about to say. I'm like, kind of weird.
What happens at Brian's stays at Brian's.
Yeah, like it's just like I hate Ouija boards and everything, so like, there's nothing cursed or weird going on. But the craziest thing that we probably ever done was we went on that giant trip. It was like 5 different investigations, four big ones, 4. Anyway,
Yeah, I think it was 4 big ones and maybe like a small one. No.
Yeah. So it was what? Okay, don't tell me. Because I'm better at other history. It was Washu first, and then the Mackey Mansion, and the Mackey Mansion little thing.
We did the Mackey Bank for like a hot minute.
Yeah. And then there was Green Man Theater, and then there was Sally House. So like there was 5 if you include the bank.
Yeah.
But there was 4 total, right?
Yeah, and the Green Man Theater, which
where's that at?
It's in the same city as the Sally House.
Real close to
and
Sally House.
I definitely dropped the ball on that one because to book the Sally House, and I'll take full ownership of it, but like I dropped the ball on it because when we booked the Sally House, you have to book it through the city. And the city reached out to us while we were driving through Nevada. And they were like, hey, I see you guys are a team. And Your Paranormal doesn't put out a whole lot of stuff on YouTube. I mean, it's a lot of effort and a lot of work. But they were like, oh, like you guys could come investigate this and then like put together a little video. And like we had it all mapped out and planned out. We still have all the footage, but I dropped the ball and never put it all together. And the lady had emailed me and was like, hey, do you have this? And I'm like, we're working on it, which we were. And then she just stopped. So if you're listening to this, I do terribly apologize. So maybe one day I'll pull it all together and I'll
You didn't respond with new email. Who dis?
No, I didn't. But
procrastination at its
I did. Okay, so in my college days, the worst part was doing evidence review. Listen, I used to play like on the summer breaks, when I wasn't working. I muted Borderlands 2. I was crushing Borderlands 2, listening to static audio. Do you know what it's like to play a video game to 8 hours of this? But
we were only there for 2 hours. That's what makes it even worse.
No. I'm not talking about
4
this.
cameras going.
I'm talking about the one that I was doing. Nothing. And there's a big door that opens. This was Perryville Battlefield, like during the Civil War stuff.
Mhm.
This house, or this like part, like the door, it's like really creaks open. I'm listening to this for hours, nothing, and then randomly boots, boom, 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 walked around for 6 straight minutes, then just stopped. 10 minutes later, the team walks in. You want to know why I know the team wasn't there or the tour guide? Because the tour guide was at the base of the other building, and then we had the itinerary. Because I'm a freak, I knew exactly where everyone was. I knew all this stuff. It was crazy. So like I have the experience of listening to static audio. So when we broke this up for the Green Man Theater, I said, I'll take the audio and I'll crank it. And I did. I took notes, detailed notes. Everything was pretty decent. But like I said, it's really hard to get people to do evidence review, and then like it's just like work and this is that.
Yeah.
And so
we still have all the evidence. I mean, we were only there for like 2.5 hours. So maybe one of these days I'll get around to it. But if you're listening, I apologize. But that's beside the point. But yeah, about this big ass trip. We were gone like 9 or 10 days.
yeah, Brev's the best. Yeah, he put all this together. I like to be in control of a lot of things. I like things done particularly. This is not one of those things. I hate driving. I hate doing this stuff. So I'm a huge supporter. You just tell me what you need, and then we roll. And Bravin took it like a great leader, like a great person, and he just rolled, baby. So Bravin's my hero on that. You know what I'm saying? It
Oh my god.
was a
Don't
great
clap
trip.
for yourself.
Yeah.
You couldn't help it.
That was very egotistical.
I don't know if that's the right word that you want to use for that, but
Well, that's
Maybe
the
it
word
was
that
me.
I'm going to use.
I was clapping for Bryan.
Okay, well then that was well deserved.
A positive reinforcement when I say something that,
Yes.
not chocolate, but yeah.
I got to ask you, Bryan, all of your investigations, everywhere you've been, I mean, you've been all over the country here.
Mhm.
What is your all-time favorite place to investigate? And what is your most memorable situation or paranormal encounter that you've actually ever had?
Was it Pine Lawn Manor was my favorite because you were there and it was a great time. And there was spooky pooping and people were sitting on your knee.
There was.
Spooky pooping. What
And-
an investigation. That was a good
And
one.
if the only thing it was missing was Olivia. And if I had to go in on why it was my favorite, was because there was it was big enough for no noise contamination, a lot of fun, cute memories, a lot of action. Like when we went to actually sleep there was some Hat Man.
Yeah.
With my brother sleeping, and something was walking around watching you guys sleep. I was tucked away with your brother Camden, so like I was safe. I said, I'm safe.
You guys were
man.
snuggled up on an air mattress.
Oh,
Snug as
wait,
a bug in
yes. He did offer me that, and I took it up
a rug.
100%.
I only sleep on a cot now. I don't sleep in beds on locations, but I bought myself a cot off of Amazon, and it is a
Great
game changer.
investment.
It's a game changer. I don't do anything else. But Pine Lawn was good though.
I still think that was the first time I had heard my name come through, like someone doing an Estes. We had,
really?
I think it was Matt and Seth on opposite ends of the hallway, and I think Seth like yelled my name, and it was at that moment I was like, I don't like that.
No.
Like it was very unsettling.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know why I got Green Man Theater in my head just because we were talking about it. It's Bravin. It was it's the one that we don't do anymore. It's like the manor. It got shut down. It was like almost like a 24-hour investigation.
Greenville Manor.
Yep.
Mm.
What was I thinking? Green Man Theater or whatever?
No. Green Man. Because the guy lived at the Green Man Theater, but the Greenville Mansion 1881 or something like that Marcus owned.
Yeah,
the one that half the stuff is in Madison now, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the most active overall. I'm talking every rotation we saw a Shadow Man in the basement with dual SDs on opposite end of the basement. They were talking to each other. It was
That was
actually nuts.
and that was the first time that we had, because it was you, me, Seth, and Connie in the basement. And that was the first time we were like, hey, let's do a double SDs. And they were a good probably 20 yards. I mean, because that basement's huge. Like it's a huge basement. And we had Connie, I think, in the morgue area, and then Seth was standing on the other side of the corner. And you and me were like asking questions in like a hushed tone, and Seth would respond and Connie would respond to Seth, or vice versa.
And then Drew is pooping himself. We move up to the next floor, and you guys go upstairs for a little bit. Drew pops an attitude. Drew's never emotional, so like that thing was really controlling people's emotions. The REM pod was going off outside. We heard the team walk down the stairs, and we look out there. There's no one there. The next floor was a little quiet, but all the way at the top, people are seeing those shadow things. There, somehow Connie volunteered to go into the dark kitchen by herself, and something's touching her and stuff. Like, I mean, it was
kicking her chair and like doing all sorts of weird. I will say the thing with Drew was wild. Wild. You guys, like, none of you guys that are listening know Drew, but he can be a little afraid sometimes. He's just like, guys, I don't want to do it, but he does it anyway. Brian has this way, and I think I've picked up on it pretty well, of such positive reinforcement that's like, you should just do it. I did it to your cousin. Your uncle. Yeah. I did it to your uncle at Middle Point. I was like, hey man, you should go out into the hallway by yourself. And he's like, I don't want to. I said, but hear me out. You should do it anyway. And he did. So I've picked up that just like expert enthusiasm, but Drew is such a laid back, chill guy. And he was being a straight up asshole. Like he was snapping at people, being rude. And we had like closed off the doors to like the small funeral parlor, which they said like the spirits don't like it when you do that. And we closed them off to like avoid noise contamination.
Correct.
And then we opened him up and he was fine. Like it was bam, he's fine. It was wild.
I think I've done like 4 investigations with Drew. I just can't picture him angry. Like I legit, you talk to the guy, you're like, nothing gets under his skin. He's too nice of a person.
Yeah, so overall, that location really had an impact on everyone in so many different ways. Because also in the basement, Bravin, there was that, you thought that you were talking to some like 1870s cowboy, like a shadow man down there. People were seeing. I'm telling you, it overall. You know what I'm talking about in the basement? Excuse me. There was like a shadow man that like you guys went down and saw.
Like I didn't. Drew and Seth did.
Drew and Seth did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just across the board at like almost every level, and so many different ways. So that just has like a huge toolbox of paranormal experiences. That's a real shame that wasn't there. But I was at an undisclosed nunnery, and there was just like. There was like a crystal grid involved, which was
this when you were by yourself, or when you were with just one other person? Yeah. You got to tell Caleb and Olivia about this, because you were telling me about it, and I've done the nunnery several times, and it was my first location that you took me on, and we're like, cool, we can go here. Had some weird stuff happen, but I feel like every time sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's not. But what happened when you were there with just you and Lindsay? I mean, you gotta tell everyone what happened, because it's pretty wild.
So I've been in the field for 10 years. I mean, people brag about me, maybe they might spell my name with an I and say I'm a professional after 10 years, but kind of widely known in the in the field.
You are in our hearts.
8 miles away. And thank you. And so what
the shade is unreal. I love it.
Everyone, oh no, it's not a shade, it's very bright. So everyone's got a lot of the sensitives say like, dude, why don't you like open your third eye? I'm like, I'm good, homie, because like the way that you guys describe this, you're seeing dead people everywhere. I'm like, I am too I have so much going on. I cannot afford to be seeing these dead people all the time,
Yeah.
and like I just operate at such a pace and
I'd like to
such a
sleep
volume.
sometime and not see
Yeah, I
like
can't
4
do
people in
that.
my room with me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, you see, that's disgusting behavior. So, but there is one thing I'm gonna do, and within a month, obviously, Caleb, you hit on it earlier. What you were alluding to was the fact that I got to put together. My goal is 12, an average of one investigation every month. So that's I need to do 7 more. And but within a month, I'm going to learn this crystal grid technique. I'm going to be working with Lindsay to get my own set and learning how to do this. I've done a little over 80 investigations total, like you said, 55 with YP Brivin, and this one was I- incredible because the nunnery is not 0 or 100. It's a good mixture, like 0 to 100,
Yeah.
and it had never hit 100 until this point. And it was just me and one other girl, Lindsay, and I didn't know, she's pulling the crystal grid. Also, low key was the first investigation where Barb was back, but that's neither here nor
Yay.
there. Um, and I was like, okay, it's
Was
just
that
the two
really
of
when you
us.
got Barb back? I thought that you had done this and you had Barb back for a while. Because that
No,
was recent, wasn't it? Like within the last year or so?
no,
Man,
That sounds like Barb is like, hey,
I'm back,
I'm back.
bitches.
You're going to pay for that.
well, hey, honestly, it wasn't me.
She is a revengeful woman.
Yeah, I would have to. I would
Brian's
have
looking
to
up
say,
his calendar because he is about
yeah,
as organized as Olivia
it's
is
it
for
was
planning all
it
of these
was
things.
it was April 8th, 2021.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
Damn.
was
Okay, I thought it was more recent than that.
4/8/21. Okay, yeah, no, I do. I have it here. So yeah, I mean, she was doing this like flame thing in front of Barb, like, yeah, Barb, make the flame dance, and like I was like, I don't know how much of that is, and I don't know about this crystal grid, but I gotta tell you, it was crazy. I've been in the nunnery like 11, 12 times. I heard the sounds of hell. That's the only way I could describe it. Over 3 years ago, I heard the sounds of hell. Women, everyone being like women screaming, people being tortured, dogs being tortured. Uh, I'm saying it's the craziest shit. Running around, hearing stuff, loud bangs, water running, going upstairs. Someone plugged in this weird office thing. It's just fucking water's running everywhere. I go, what's going on? And then, she's getting her hand held, there's all this weird shit, and then, getting touched. And then at the end of towards the end of the night, we heard this loud bang in the nunnery. We go out to the middle of the area, like, what's going on? And I heard something just crawl. This is the only way I can describe it. Crawl from the basement doors or like the stairs going down. Crawl, crawl on the wall, crawl on the ceiling, go around us in a circle, and park its demon ass behind us. And I looked
Bro,
at
I've got
Lindsay.
chills
I was gonna say,
thinking of that because
I've not heard this story.
I know exactly the path that you're talking about, and that's giving me
Yeah.
fucking chills, dude. Like,
Dude,
oh
but
my
like it's
God,
me.
dude.
It's me. I don't experience
Yeah,
anything.
oh yeah.
I don't experience anything, it's all for everyone else. Like I ain't,
It's your
this
paranormal, not Brian paranormal.
dude, yeah, but this was the Brian paranormal moment. I looked at Lindsay and I go, "Did you just hear that? Like, what did you hear?" She's like, "Yeah, crawling from the basement, and it's that red-eyed thing I saw in the basement." And I said, "You want to like go?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's not safe here." I'm like, "Okay, good, because I got to work tomorrow." And like,
Dude, the nunnery
yeah,
is
It definitely
dude.
sounds like
crazy.
we need to
Go.
investigate the nunnery because it's. I've just heard nothing but stories, but yet we haven't been up there.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean that's the one where it's undisclosed, so like we got to be careful of like what we show, what we do, but like it's great stories. I'm trying to fit 2 of those again throughout the year. I have the keys. I really good people, basically family. I've been extremely respectful of the owner, and we can always do more interviews and stuff. But my only promise was that it stays under wraps.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we just gotta just use the evidence discreetly at an undisclosed
Don't have to
nunnery in
videotape
Texas.
nothing.
Yeah.
We can
Just
just
go.
Yeah,
investigate.
well,
Texas. Brian, I thought it was in like Florida or something.
Oh my gosh, it moves around, man.
It's everywhere.
Well, so
Hey, I
Yeah,
never
she-
said where Brian lives. I'm pretty sure he's in
we do have
Amsterdam right now. So.
two Madison Seminary
That's crazy. I
locations,
thought he was in Cali.
two Madison Seminary investigations booked. Maybe we could do a nunnery Friday and kind of like double it up. Get a little health journey in on Saturday, and then go get spooky at the seminary.
100%, man. Whatever best fits in your case. We marked off some Saturdays, but if you want to save one of those Saturdays and you want to make like a Friday thing, these Madison things that we booked are before Christmas, after Christmas. So whether Christmas is coming early for you, or you want an extra Christmas present, if you really want to make like a good weekend out of it, nice training, nice hangout sessions, and investigation back to back. Nothing's better than adding a double feature on Friday. Double feature Friday. Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Hell yeah, cool. Well, we'll figure it out. I know that I don't think you haven't met him before, Brian, but Morgan is a super, super good friend of Caleb, and he's gone he's done some stuff at Mansfield, but Caleb and I took him on his first actual investigation, and we took him to Old Hospital on College Hill.
And then Hinsdale.
So those are the two actual investigations, and he is super excited.
Out of this world. That experience sounds out of this world.
Oh, Brian. Yeah, we have a whole thing that we're planning on talking about that.
See, I remember and care. Look at this.
It's because
when
you're
I get
the number
possessed,
one.
you got to save me.
Because you're the
That's
number
true.
one.
Because I care. Yeah.
But Morgan is super pumped, so maybe we could give him a 2-for-1.
100%.
But I think so. Caleb had asked what your favorite location was. Now, obviously, we're not shitting on any locations or anything like that, but what location did you have like really high expectations for? And you showed up, and it was kind of like, not like it. I don't want to say a letdown, because that makes it sound kind of negative, but like what I guess was kind of like a letdown. Like you're like, it was pretty quiet the whole night, and nothing really happened.
I say, yeah, that's nothing against the location. You never know what you're gonna get. We've been to like the Monroe. The first time we went there, I had heard so much wild stories, and I went in there with an expectation, and just nothing happened.
Well, there's nothing against the location. Like they can have active nights,
but then the second time was
nights where there's nothing.
Well, the first time Brian went to Monroe was off the hook, and then I went back with Brian and had some weird stuff, and then Caleb and I went, just the two of us, and we were there until like midnight. Now it was freezing in that house.
Like 15 outside.
15 outside, so it was probably in the negatives when we were there. Had a couple little things happen, but I mean, like we all said, we're not dissing any location or anything like that. But with that being said, what do you think it was one you were looking forward to, and then just kind of fell short of your expectations, I guess?
Yeah, I'll give you 3.
Ooh.
Spicy.
No, it's just because I have the list up here.
He had that list. He said, "Do not return." Okay.
No, I don't have that. So it's Wildwood was. It was cool at the end, but I didn't drive all those. Like, trust me, I've done the nunnery like 12 times. There's lots of duds in there. I get it. It's all about the night. We're not dissing anyone. We're just talking purely objective. Wildwood was one that Bravin said we're gonna get branded on our butt cheeks of how cool this place is gonna be. So
can I do the branding?
We did that combo with
that was obvious.
Hinsdale.
Caleb. I mean,
and
who else
Wildwood.
is gonna do it?
I will take one for the team on that one.
Oh my
Okay.
God. What else do we have?
Well, then the second one would be ISS because I didn't get to sleep with Bravin, like not like but like just like in the same bed.
You didn't get to
Um,
cuddle.
we didn't get to cuddle, but the third
Yes.
one was, and it was less about the location and more about what the location did to me. 100%, it was the Mackey Mansion.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the noise contamination of the place. Let's say that. And two, it just made me and maybe a few other people terribly fatigued. I was so tired. I was toast. And
I may or
yeah,
may not have fallen asleep in the hallway
just
doing
grab
a
me.
session.
Yeah, hey ghost, grab
I
me
say,
like
that's
if
weird.
you want to talk. Yeah,
But-
no, it was.
And it wasn't even like, and it's funny you bring that up because I completely forgot about it. Like there were 6 of us, and we and we had done the Washoe the night before, and the Washoe was awesome. Like that's to this day probably one of my top 3 favorite locations that I've ever done. And the Mackey is supposedly just as haunted, if not more haunted, than the Washoe.
Yeah.
And there's a story that like Johnny Depp was staying in the mansion to do like some method acting. He was doing like a Western or something like that. And he woke up and there was a little girl like standing on the foot of his bed, and it freaked him out to the point where he left and
Oh my
never came back.
God.
And he sent in like a crew to come in and pack up
Yeah.
all of his stuff because he was planning on staying there for like 3 months.
Tell me that's for Rango, where he's like the gecko.
Do you guys want to know a
Cowboy.
fun fact?
Absolutely.
Johnny Depp is my 9th cousin.
Really?
He's my mom's 8th cousin. So, it's a
That's
fun
crazy.
fact. hmm
I love Pirates of the Caribbean, so if you could get me some swag, that would be cool.
Trust me, I wish that we were closer cousins to where I could be in contact, but I just don't think that's going to happen. It's so
You gotta
many.
believe in yourself.
Slacker.
I think it's like great or great. So many greats.
If I'm
we
expecting
share
to
the
get
same
you guys Bengals
grandmother
gear
somewhere.
from my sister, you have to try to get me.
The least you can
mean,
do.
I have 0 celebrity.
I have all the
Family members, so
documentation
you're
proof
good on
because
that.
my
You're a
mom.
celebrity in my heart.
Well, my mom is big on family history. She has all the documentation proof. It's just how can I get it out a hold of him and him not be like, whoa, she's psycho, but like, oh, she's actually family.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, I support you in the whole divorce settlement.
Hear me out.
Stuff.
You gotta be like, hey or hi, Johnny. I want to go on a ghost hunt with you. Like that's like the perfect. Just slide in. It's chill.
The perfect
you know?
segue.
Imagine
You know what I
Johnny
mean?
Depp
Hey,
just getting an
long-lost
email.
cousin Johnny.
Yeah, imagine Johnny Depp just getting like an email or his team getting an email and it's like, "Hi Johnny, you're my 9th cousin. Do you want to go on a ghost hunt?" They'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Restraining
be like,
order
delete.
immediately.
Yeah.
Delete.
They'd be like, "Okay, no."
Oh,
I will
man.
buy him wine if he wants to come. I can't afford what he drinks, but
You're like, I can get you this bottle from Walmart that is in a bag.
it's $4.99.
I'll
But if
try.
you pound it, you're good.
Yeah.
Brian, so we talked about like some locations that didn't meet like some expectations, and we kind of talked about your favorite ones. What do you think out of the 80 investigations that you've done, what do you think has been the craziest experience that you've had? And now if it's that situation that happened at the undisclosed nunnery that's in Port Havana, down in Cuba, or it might be Anchorage in Alaska, I can't remember. What would be the craziest experience that like has happened to you or that you've seen? Because I mean, you've blessed. How many people are part of your paranormal now? It's got to be 40 plus people at this point, maybe even more.
Yeah, there's a lot. It doesn't count. Yeah, there's like for sure between 40 and 50. And just keep scrolling.
It's a community. It's not really a team anymore. It's a community.
It's a big
There's a lot.
family with
To be
lots of
honest,
aunts
I
and
thought he was
uncles.
just thinking, and then in my head, I'm like, he's got a list. And then he's literally
Oh, yeah, everyone's
scrolling
on
through
the
the
list.
list.
Oh yeah, everyone's on the list.
I thought he was just like
Brian's
thinking in his
prepared
head,
and I love it.
maybe.
It's nice because if we are like having like a big location, which we've got a couple big ones your paranormal has a couple big ones planned next year,
Mhm.
and one of them is we need 30 people.
Mhm.
There's enough that we
Easy.
can pull 30
Right, yeah.
people. Well, just from like that side. I mean, like that
Mhm.
doesn't even count like us three and Morgan and Tyler and the people that we've interacted with and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah.
that being said, what do you think, either to you or to someone that's been under the YP umbrella, what do you think is the craziest experience that you've had?
There's probably three. One is the one that I talked about with the crawling and just that investigation overall, at the undisclosed nunnery. Two would be like the physical scratches that I see. I mean, even like Emily was like picked up Barb to like hand her to me and show me, and just immediately scratch marks on her. Excuse me, at this house.
Is Emily around? Can we say hi?
You cannot. She's actually at. So we both have weddings tomorrow. One of the people that I met in the paranormal field, I had the honor to meet her two daughters, and her one daughter is getting married. I get to say the prayer before we eat, and how do I not say? Dear Lord, thank you so much for keeping us safe on this investigation, like bringing us here. You know, can you make sure that
It's the same.
whatever's here has to.
It's the closing email. It's
Yeah,
the closing
but
email.
okay,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
but
Oh
like
my
It's the
God.
closing prayer. Yeah.
I know, but like that's gonna
Send
slip
God.
out. That's literally gonna slip out. Like before this meal to celebrate this marriage, it's gonna be like whatever's here has to remain here, and they're gonna be like, "What?" the
Like, I didn't sign up for
fuck?"
this.
Whatever's in
Yeah,
the food, it
and
has to stay.
100%. Yeah, dude. Like everyone's got to empty themselves. But so she's not here. She also has like a different wedding. But hers is kind of like a 2-day thing. So, but the second part would be people getting scratched. I mean, even Emily to like everyone getting scratched, like seeing the visible scratches and having like not a Gestapo, but I have like a secret police that I use to like watch people if they say they're getting scratched. I have people watch them to make sure that there's no faking
Yep.
because that's one of the biggest things. Like I didn't just dump 10 or 11 years of my life to like fake stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to tolerate that. Like I perform at such a high, volume that I'm not going to waste my time. And even with the Secret Service there, the scratches I see are nuts. And then the third one, um, I really lost my train of thought, but yeah, I don't know what else would actually be. Yeah, I had a third one because I like to do threes. I don't know.
So you pair things off in threes. Now,
I have a question.
Livia has a question.
And you can do it in your. Is pairs of three? If it's three, it's not a pair, is it? Technically.
A pair and a half.
Yeah. You're a pair and a half of threes. So you have done many investigations, and I know that you have some planned out for the rest of this year and going into next year. But what three locations, I guess, even if you do have them planned, what three locations are top on your bucket list to go to that you have not already been to? And why, if you want to give a reasoning?
Absolutely, that's very simple. So the first one is Scooby Doo Island. This is like Basset Hound, Scooby Doo. I have no idea. Like some kind of Scooby Doo Island. You take a ferry. There's horses that like do the tour. You got to camp out there. It's beautiful.
Where is this at?
That's the one.
It's Blennerhassett
right next to
Island.
It's
Anchorage
maybe a half
Mansion?
hour from my cabin in West Virginia.
Oh, really?
We
You
didn't know that
actu-
until we went across the bridge, and Bradman called me. He's like, "That's Scooby Doo Island." I'm like, "I've
You
been
drive
across this
over the
15
island.
times
It's a
now."
big long strip, in like basically the river that kind of separates Ohio and West Virginia.
That sounds really cool.
We've been
Yeah,
trying
I
to plan
mean,
that
like-
one for years.
Oh yeah, dude. Like you gotta offer unique experiences. So like when you look at Billy Creek, when you look at the village,
Ogles.
Ogles Village. When you look at these places, that's the kind of experience you want to bring to people. And the island is just so crazy unique. My second investigation ever was, it's not real. This was in my dream.
Okay.
There's in Cleveland. There's this boat called the Steamship William G. Mather. It's right next to the Cleveland Science Center. 518 foot. It was crazy. That was so cool. I would love to do one of those, but like that's one of the unique ones that are like wow. So Scooby Doo Island for sure. I want to go back to Mansfield because from where I'm from, when people say haunted houses, they think of Mansfield. They think of these big prisons. And it might not be the most active, it might not be the most XYZ, but the fact that YP is turning 7 years old and we have not planned something that's so close to people's hearts, that's such like just a throw out there. I want to do that. And then the third one, you got to learn this in the group, in the paranormal field. If you have good quality people around you, like I do, like I got a specialist named Olivia, Caleb, and Bravin. And my favorite part about like good people like these three that I just mentioned is that they're gonna bring these ideas out of the woodwork. They're gonna get passionate about them. That's the investigation. The third investigation I'm really excited about doesn't have a name. It's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be from someone else that's going to be hyped up. I'm looking forward to, one of my members bringing something up, and it's the thing that I don't see coming. So
I like that.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's a good one. Caleb, you got
be Frozen?
I think it's just it might be the
I'm frozen.
Yeah, it might be the connection on the.
My thing is like super delayed as I'm talking.
It's
like
probably Barb coming through the camera.
There she is.
Then she pops
my
up.
queen. My queen.
I was going to ask, out of all the equipment, I mean, between everybody, I mean, we've got a ton of random equipment.
Caleb, thank God you said that because my third experience that I really liked was spirit boxes are cute. I'm talking cute.
You'll learn that Brian's favorite phrase is "that's super cute," and it has like 15 different meanings.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing,
dude. Like,
so he wasn't complimenting me when he told me that I was cute.
No. Like I said, it has 15
that's what we
different
call
meanings.
A hyper compliment. That's like one that you should take very seriously.
Okay. Just making sure.
15 different meanings, but Sean Gilmore brought like 15 different spirit boxes. One of them was called a direct link, and we were at the Monroe House 2. We were like, where is Dr. Z? And that thing clear as day. And I've never seen a spirit box or, whatever you want to call them, say that clearly, no fuzz, bathroom. I said, what? And this Cuddy walks out of the bathroom. I'm like, first off, the bathroom break was not scheduled, but I'm not going to say anything. But I'm like, there's no way. It was literally like, hey, who do you want to touch the glass and talk to that dummy? And Bravin was right about to put his hand on it. Bravin, like, ew. That stuff is so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to ask me my favorite, I like the direct link a lot, man. It's a beefy boy SB7. Dude, that thing's dirty, man.
It's a beefy boy SB7.
Which is I've used it several times, and I haven't had an experience yet with it. Like, I've heard
Me too.
something come through, but like, to me, it's always going to be the SB7. I love doing the SDs. I love having the communication. I don't know what's going on outside. To me, it's everybody's like, oh, I don't know how you like going under that. I'm like, well, because I'm blindfolded and I have headphones on. The world could be on fire around me. I don't know what's out there. You might be getting chased down the hallway, but I'm just sitting there like saying random words.
And that's one of the things that I like most about it too, is it's like I feel like I am personally connecting with the spirit. And I really like that.
Which is, I guess, kind of what the direct link is using you as an antenna, correct?
Yeah, but like you could use the direct link with headphones.
Right.
Yeah, the direct links are super cool. They're made by Austin Maynard. We actually have
broken by Bravin.
Did you break one?
So he uses like computer speakers
Okay.
and works his magic, and the front plastic piece, they're very fragile, and we had it in a tote and the front plastic piece broke. So
you broke it.
yes, it still works just fine, but now like when I'm not on an investigation, it gets pulled out and it sits on my workbench in the garage. But
I'm just playing with Bravin. Bravin's literally my life and soul. So
I love you, Brian.
I love you too.
Caleb, how do you feel right now with all the love going on between them?
This is calm compared to an investigation.
Yeah, there's some real weird shit that goes on during our investigations. But with the direct link, Austin Maynard makes those, and he runs. I butcher it every time, but it's what, Underground Paranormal Network.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, he's a good friend of ours. We're actually going to have him on sometime soon to talk about all of his Oglays, the Bryan Jail, it's Father John's Brewery, Broadwell Funeral Home, I think.
There's something up in Bryan, Ohio.
The jail.
Yeah.
We did the haunted Bryan Jail, and then Oglays is up there. Well, Oglays is in like Defiance-ish, but
If I had to change my answer about like what piece of equipment, at Middle Point 2, I really liked the photo cameras and the pictures that were taken. Caleb just happened to be taking those photos on I don't know, 3/11/23. It was a beautiful March day.
he remembers all the dates for literally everything.
No, I don't. No, literally, it's just right here. And like at
Brian, YP4, what was the date?
YP4?
Yes.
11/20/21.
I was gonna go with like April, but all right.
Oh my god.
So
Continue. Sorry.
I can do YPs like this just because I promote them. But like I have here like Pine Lawn Manor, because like Caleb, we've only done 2 with YP, yeah.
I've done Middle Point,
Mm-hmm. Pine Lawn
Pine
Manor.
Lawn. Thought we did another one. Maybe it was just 2.
Were you at Oglays?
I was not at Oglays. I had to work that
I
day.
know that Caleb and I, we've done probably 10 together.
Oh, Caleb's a champ. You see,
So
that's the issue.
Half the time I forget what I've done, what I haven't done.
Yeah, and like what banner it's under. As long as Bravin's there, it's under beautiful.
I've technically only have done 1 with YP, but I've done like 10, 12 with you 2.
Yeah.
Well, so originally I wanted to like pull everyone's in, but you had people like Drew that were like, dude, how is it fair? Like, we're all just gonna start investigating like our hometown friends, and you're already gonna be at like 30. And I said, oh, I don't care. Let's just only count YP ones. Excuse me. So like everyone can go do their own things too. So that's why, at least for YP, it only counts YP. But my biggest advice, I say, listen, you gotta create a journal, not only for your paranormal experiences, but like for you gotta start numbering. Like you said, you've done 10, right, Olivia? Do you have a list
of the where I've been?
Yeah.
I do have a list of where I've been, actually.
Yeah, we keep a list for SSP for where we've been and where. Well, we've only been one place for SSP, but like we keep a list of like.
Since we've started SSP, we've been on 1, but prior to it,
we had done several.
Yeah,
the 3 of us, 4 or 5 other.
Yeah,
but you got to make sure whether regardless of banner, that you keep track of every single one of them. Because they'll fall through the cracks. Like I remember Dan and I went to Madison with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't write that down. Yeah. If I didn't write that down, that's gonna be one that's gonna be missed from the list. So you got to make sure that
that's probably why I was thinking Madison was a YP
because Brian was there.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Was that one that I just booked just because?
I think so. I mean, we had probably 7 of us total that night.
Yeah, because then the second time we went, there was like almost 15 of us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a little rough. We went
Yeah.
with another friend, and nothing against him, but it just kind of expanded, and there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people. We did
Yeah.
we had some weird stuff that happened there, but that's
I'm
that's beside the point.
I'm on the opposite spectrum. Like I want to make sure that everything's like organized, but like I mean, y'all do what you want. It's just
Mhm.
I want to make sure that like when we're at home base, preferably people are off their phones so that you can connect. Like
Yeah.
I don't need someone. I mean, like
Yeah, but
if you got a family or whatever, but like for me, like I don't need, someone playing like a phone game on their phone. Like I need them interacting with the new members to build that community.
Mhm.
But in the same token for investigations, like it just always takes me back to in high school, we were in choir class, and when people would sneak their phones in and send texts, there'd be like a weird through like the whatever system.
Mhm.
And so, I've got these because I don't want to hear vibrations. I don't, if I hear something, I want to make sure it's paranormal so that people can treasure that forever.
Mhm.
It goes a little overboard sometimes, but I'll tell you what. I'd rather be a little overboard, a little organized,
Mhm.
than thinking you're gonna roll up with 5 people, 15 show up, and it's kind of a
yep.
Well, I think
Yeah.
like I don't even think
in general.
it's overboard. I mean, some of the rules, like you said that you're very organized, which you are. You have these very nice restaurant dinner menus
Mhm.
for whatever investigation, and it's broken down into Team Delta and Echo, and like each person has a role, and like you get a color coordinated or a color coordinated watch. It's a digital watch, so that like because paranormal technology, paranormal tech can interact with a smartwatch or your phone, or like you don't want it to vibrate, so it kind of keeps everyone disconnected from things. And I think it helps because then, like you said, if you are experiencing something paranormal, you want to be able to say, I know that it's not my phone, it's not my Apple Watch, it's not some piece of technology that I've got. I mean, we leave our phones at base camp and we're off traversing, like when we did ISS from
Mhm.
the recreation building, and or what's it called,
Commercial building.
from the commercial building, and we're all the way back in the 5-story building, and none of us have phones. Like we have flashlights and watches and digital watches, and that's literally it. So
When Olivia was alluding to earlier, she likes the SS methods because she can really connect to the paranormal.
Mhm.
We can deliver that experience to people, especially the first timers that are getting into the field.
Mhm.
We can deliver that kind of caliber of experience by first off, anyone just feels more connected in the world without a phone.
yeah,
And that never happens. The fact that you can do that to, and I'm just talking new members, let alone experienced ones. When you, or even when you have experienced members, maybe they do like 3 or 4 investigations out of the year. I'm kind of like blessed where if I put on 12, like if I put on 16 YPs, I'm I'm participating in all 16. If I put on 12 investigations, I'm doing all 12.
yeah.
So these people
Yeah.
that can create time away from their families, etc., to do these 3 or 4, first off, they haven't seen us in a while, so it's so nice to connect. And this is like a date. Like say like you have a hot date next week, and maybe you don't want to have your phone or something, so that you connect with him or anyone, like just better, right? Um, if you can do that to people like old friends or just new people, phones away, you're connecting with them, you're connecting with the spirits 3 or 4 times a year, that stuff's magical. That's the kind of magic. And that's what I love about SSP. You guys are talking, you're interviewing these people, you're bringing something fresh to the paranormal community that it desperately needs. And what I like about you three is that you're real. And so people, when you see the SSP investigations, they're not faking stuff. They are highly successful people and they're busy. They're not going to fake stuff. They're actually bringing you the real content, and they're putting their phones away, they're putting all these distractions away, and they're really getting into it for you.
I think that's the thing too that we also take a lot of pride in is like you said, how like we're real, is we also like to sit there and we communicate with each other after every single thing that happens. And we're like, okay, what are the chances that, say we heard a knock? We're like, could it have been this, or this? Like, we will sit there and try to debunk everything and communicate and be like, okay, I heard this. Did you also hear this? What do you think? And so there's a lot of like socializing and communication as to, hey, here's this piece of evidence. Can we confirm this as paranormal?
And I think I learned some of that from you, Bryan, because what we do is everything. And I mean, Caleb and I, that's one of the, when I invited him to our first investigation, like we pretty much hit it off. And I mean, I see him probably at least once a week, at least. Olivia 2, maybe 3 times a week, because we hit the gym and stuff like that. But
taking my spot.
Sorry.
There's a logical explanation and like outside interaction reason for what's happening, unless there absolutely isn't. So like, for example, all of our episodes, and I'm prefacing this for a reason, all of our episodes are pre-recorded, so we can go back and we can edit things, we can overlay things. And this episode's going to come out after our Fairfield investigation. And we had some of the craziest. Now, Bryan, Caleb had never done an investigation at Fairfield. There were some loud bangs. Well, there was a raccoon that we had to escort out of the building. But there was a loud bang that happened right below us while we were up in the attic, to the point where Caleb physically like grabbed my arm and it freaked him the fuck out.
It's like you know, you
Caleb doesn't really do that.
I don't react like, okay, it's spooky, whatever. Like, it got to the point where I was like, I might just take off running down the hallway and good luck to them. The noises we heard,
and I was under the SD, so I had no clue what was going on.
But we were trying to kind of like what you were saying and what Olivia was saying, like we were trying to rationalize what was going on, and we couldn't figure it out because there was only the 3 of us in the building, and we're up on the 4th floor, and stuff is like falling down the stairs and sliding across the floor towards us, and we're
the building shook.
Yeah. We posted it on our TikTok. Was that the one that we posted, or did we post a different one?
I posted the second clip, which was like the a sliding noise, and then you guys were like, "Oh my god, did you hear that?" And then all of a sudden it's just boom.
But that was the second loud noise. The first one, I felt the vibrations.
The floor
through my feet, and it was like thunder, but it was crystal clear out. There was no storm coming. There was nothing going on outside. Nobody was outside in the area. Nothing.
It was 2:00 in the morning. And it sounded like something slammed, and Olivia was like coming down the hallway or coming up the stairs as she's under Estes, and she's like talking about it. But back to what we were saying, like we had no logical explanation for anything that was going on. So we have to assume that was something paranormal that had happened. But it was.
I like those conversations that you guys have because you 3 connect with the paranormal, because I've investigated with you guys a lot. You all 3 of you connect with the paranormal different ways, some more emotional, logical, different perspectives. So when you guys are giving your 3 different views, you're really hitting it at like all angles. This morning, there was a loud bang at the door of Emily and I's bedroom, and we were like, okay, the cat just threw itself. Like, one of the cats just threw itself at the door. But then like a cat popped up like on the bed, and I was like, what? And I look, and the door is open. I'm like, the door was shut. So unless they're throwing themselves in such a way, or maybe when Emily like peed at night, she didn't shut it all the way, but like they would have like, I mean, you really have to talk about that stuff. When I got my house like 6 years ago, I whipped up a notes app because it was move-in day, and just heard something from the basement. Say, yep. Open my as any rational person would do. I opened my notes app. I put the date. I put the time, and I said, "This is the effed up thing that just happened."
Filing this away for a rainy day.
And when I go, because people are like, dude, does anything happen at your house? And I go, How long you got? Whip out my notes app. I got receipts. Timestamps to 6 years ago. That's the kind of cool stuff that you can do.
Quick little
So
side note. Speaking of that, can you tell everyone the tennis ball story?
yeah, it's great. So it's one of the ones in my house, and I was sleeping, and I woke up out of nowhere. I get like I just wake up, and I just hear a tennis ball going bop bop bop, and even like the dogs get up, and I like lean up. It goes bop bop, stops. I didn't hear bum 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 bum, bum. It's just like stopped on like the high note. It was as if something was had the tennis ball, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it. My bed is not like the distance between the floor and the top of the bed is not very high, and it was consistent.
Hmm.
This was before I had the cats or anything. Um, so I did the logical thing. I peed while multitasking, writing it down, and I went to bed. I woke up the next morning. I vaguely remembered it. I checked under the bed and there was a tennis ball. And I'm like, listen, for it to sound like a tennis ball and there be, first off, what, did the dogs just randomly get a tennis ball and just go, let me place this under the bed? Totally plausible. The dogs cannot get under the bed. There's no cats. What is plopping it up and down, holding it in air for a few seconds, doing it, not stopping when I open my eyes, but when I get up? It happened like twice more, and again, it didn't. No, it's just stopped at the top. There was no fizzle out or anything. That's the crazy stuff, and that's why one of the 7 investigations of the rest of the year will be my house. I'm coordinating the 3 cats, the 2 poodles, to be elsewhere, and people are like, one of the rules was always like never investigate your house, and I agree with that. And until Connie said, "Hey, man, like." There's so much stuff in my house. I said, let's investigate your house. She goes, I would never do that. And I know you would never. I'm like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah,
Try me.
you could do my house if we could do yours. I said, deal. You think I don't know how to do deals? Shit, man. You know how many workouts we do in my basement? Shit, man. I got you, boo. I got you. I said, shit.
You're like, oh, Bryan
Yeah.
Mersol. We can do it. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, dude, come on, man. This is not just a, take relationship. Listen, I also get uncomfortable. I also seek discomfort. Let's go. So, that's one of the things we're doing this year. And people are like, dude, like, it's just your house. I've been there. I said, I know you've been to the house, but like, sleep over.
Have you investigated the house?
No, and that's the best part. So like we've done a few things like my buddy Tommy was over and we were in that like basement area and he's big macho man and he's actually really
He's
stupid for this.
he's a good looking dude. It's
He's a good looking dude, but he had a like
it's wild that he's single though, which is kind of crazy.
that's true, but there is a reason he's single because he's stupid with paranormal. He's like we're like doing the direct link and he might be a little drunk or something, I don't know, and he's like, oh yeah, like is that Satan, like are you there? I'm like, okay, first off, you don't do that, but also I really don't care, like I guess it's fine. And it goes, Tommy. He goes, what did that just say? I said, oh, you weren't drunk enough to hear that it said Tommy kid now, huh? Yeah.
You
So
brought that to yourself.
he's like, okay, let's just turn it off. I said, no, well, hold up.
We're
Someone
getting
wants to
evidence
talk
now.
to you, Tommy.
You don't get to turn it off now.
Tommy, where are you going, man? I thought you just want to talk to it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Okay, big nuts, So like you always got this is one of the lessons for the viewers, man. Like compromised investigations are never a good idea, whether using any kind of drugs. It's not a good idea because you never know what door to open. However, at least if you have someone like me who is like, I don't drink or anything, so like I was there, I was supervising. But yeah, it was fine. I was able to close it, shut it down. It's fine. But when you have a house, just very simple rules. I just talk to it and I say, listen, come on, man. I love you guys. It's so great that you're here. Appreciate you being here, choosing to be here. Don't harm or scare my family. It's that simple. Dude, like for real, like I've been in the field 10, 11 years. Dude, I respect the hell out of you. Like if you're traveling with the dog or if you're traveling with the dolls or the equipment, like come on, man, we going for a little ride. You know what I'm saying? We go all these cool places. But seriously, like don't harm or scare my family.
The funniest thing, speaking of your house, is I remember the very first time that I came over, we were doing an undisclosed nunnery, and I was sleeping in the basement, and this was before you guys had done that big, huge clean out, and you had me sleep in the basement. Brian's basement's huge, so he's got a nice exercise area on one side, and then on the other side, it's kind of like finished. It's got like a kind of like a small kitchen-ish bar area down there. And I went to sleep and I woke up and Brian had lined up like 15 fucking dolls in a big ass fucking circle.
Yeah.
All around me, because what we did early on with YP, well, early on for me, we would have this big like 40-gallon tote filled with all these creepy ass dolls, and he would just hand it to someone.
So tiresome.
Yeah, he would just hand it to someone to be like, "Hey, walk around this creepy ass building by yourself, and wherever you think that it feels the creepiest, set the dolls up and make it extra spooky."
I love that.
And you did it the first time I came over, but I was trying to sleep. I'll be honest, I slept in your basement with the lights on because also you opened the door to that weird pink room that is in your basement that locks from the outside.
That pink room is a little sus, bro. I gotta tell you.
Yeah. That no.
I had Sean Gilmore over. We were playing some Scary Game Saturday stuff. You know, so like it's been years. You know, he came over and we did a little investigating in the basement. And dude, Sean, Sean. It's like, no, dude, you can't be saying. And you know, Emily was there. Dude, you can't be saying Sean's name. Sean saw this black whisper thing, and you know, I'm like, dude, you got to go over there. I think it's in that pink room, dude. Hell no, I ain't going in that back room. I said, Sean, you've been doing this for over 12 years. He goes, come on, man, I ain't going in there. I said, come on, man. It's just my house. Woo.
I love Sean. I love him. He's such a good dude. But going on investigations with him sometimes, he is like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. No way, no how.
You got a lot of people, the people that are the most sensitive are also the ones like that sometimes won't do as much. I mean, probably rightfully so. I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? But you know, you got to make sure that everyone's comfortable. And the only other thing about that home thing that like I had a conversation with was like, don't harm or scare my family. That's the ground rules. But if you're in the field, this is the important part. I said, I will take time away from work. I've been in the field for over 10 years. I have a large paranormal network. Everyone sages, blesses, and cleanses differently. And I will bring multiple specialists in here. And they'll try their own way. And I will erase you from existence. Don't want to. We're great. Chill here. Come on these investigations. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Literally like nothing but light and love. But if you're not going to show light and love back,
you don't get to be a part of the fam anymore.
Yeah, like it's just being dead ass. Like I respect you guys. I don't know how the other side works. I don't know how hard it is. I have nothing but the utmost respect for you. But like seriously, like don't harm or scare my family.
Yeah.
Like that's my dog. I mean everyone. Like you can't do that. You can't be doing that.
I think that's what it all comes down to is just having that respect. And going in there with like the clear intentions. I think a lot of people will go in and they'll have that negative taunting trying to pull out, and then they're like, I can't believe this happened. It's like you asked for it. What did you expect was going to happen?
Exactly.
If you go in there with an open mind and respectful tone, you can have an interaction, but not necessarily have that follow you home,
Mhm.
terrorizing, where people have these stories. It's always someone went into the house, they antagonized, they were
Yeah.
taunting,
Yeah.
and then they got something that happened. It's like, well, it would happen if you did it to a guy on the street.
Mhm.
You're running your mouth to him, you're probably going to get hit. You do
Caleb,
that to a
you get
spirit.
it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
You get it because like that kid Tommy, like he has good intentions, but when you get compromised, you might not have the best intentions.
It's
And
true.
so, you have to be careful of what like alcohol or whatever drugs, like I'm just assuming like alcohol in your system. That's why it's always good to come in with a clear mind because people like that, first off, like it might follow you home. Caleb, it was my own house. Tommy, listen, Tommy needs a good girl in his life or something to whip him up straight because this is getting ridiculous. Like someone needs to teach him how to actually ghost hunt, and he doesn't come around because his weak knees. So like we gotta do something. We gotta do something.
The weak
We gotta do
knees.
something. I'm not that close. I don't know if I don't know where he lives, but if you know someone who's 8 miles away from him, like we just got to get something rolling because every member deserves to know the truth about paranormal and the correct way to do it.
Hell yeah. Well, Bryan, we know it's getting a little late. We don't want to take up too much of
Sure.
your time, but we do want to say we really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
You're
100%.
one of my best friends. I mean, the other two people in the
We
here
love you.
we're all
Love
best
you.
friends. We love you very much, and we're super happy that you were willing to be our first guest
Mhm.
that we brought on.
We
but,
also appreciate all the support since
Mhm.
even before day one.
Yeah,
Yes.
all the help
Always.
planning, and I mean, I was talking to you about figuring out what type of software to use and any help
Mhm.
that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Coming down and stuff like that. But we really appreciate you coming on. We're probably going to wrap it up, let you get back to your evening because, like you said, you got a wedding to plan for.
Mhm.
But like we said, we love you. We really appreciate you coming on, and we're going to cut you loose, my man. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Is there like a section where I get to plug and like plug my stuff?
Plug away.
Go for it right now.
Okay, beautiful. Because the only thing
You
I
can
want to
also
plug
thank
is
them for watching.
Just not
You
plugging
can do
your
our outro
OnlyFans.
Yeah,
too.
We
not
don't
your
do that.
OnlyFans.
We'll
That's
give you the
just
honors.
that's just in the private chat. But we'll
Yeah.
obviously
Your
link
feet finder.
the Your Paranormal Instagram and the Your Paranormal
okay.
Facebook
So
and
like
stuff like that.
here's the plug. Don't go to any of those. Don't go to the Instagram. Don't go to the Facebook. Your Paranormal's cute, but listen, if you really want to support me, go watch more of SSP content. And I know you've
Aw.
watched every episode, every YouTube thing. Come on, man. It's worth a rewatch. Because you know what? Bravin's good, but he's not as good as you. So you're going to catch something that Bravin didn't that you can drop in the comments, okay? You don't got to worry about your paranormal. I am old news. This is the future. If you want three good people, good quality people, I'm being 100% honest here. If you want three good quality people, that's SSP, okay? It's three good people, three letters in the acronym. They're the best in the business. And then just get excited for their episode on FCI. They're getting rid of raccoons. They're doing the dangerous stuff for you. You know what I'm talking? They didn't even let Olivia know. Olivia's over there. She doesn't even know that there's real danger, and they're getting in real danger for you. So everyone,
Yeah.
from all of us at SSP, we just wanted to thank you so much for, whether it's tonight or whenever you're joining us, we want to really thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because time is the most valuable resource. You chose to spend this time with us, and it just means the world that we can deliver this content and this value to you. Just have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Exactly
love, my
what
man.
Bryan just said.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Bryan, you're the motherfucking
This is the
man.
Caleb mugshot.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the Caleb mugshot right before I get possessed.
I love that.
Awesome,
that.
I
Bryan.
love you guys.
Well,
Love
We
thank you
love
again.
you.
Guys, like Bryan said, give us a rewatch, give us a like, post us on your social medias, and tune in next time for the next installment of Shadow Sessions Paranormal. Thanks, guys.